Hi, welcome to Control Talk Now. This is your host, Eric Stromquist, and this is Control Talk for the week ending August 3rd, 2014. I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. Glad to be here. Glad we're all in one piece. We're suffering some severe technical challenges. Skype's down. I mean, just the weather here has been awful, and I think it has the impact. There's a lot of people using Skype, or else the weather, the heaviness of the atmosphere, something's wrong because we can't get connected on Skype. So we're taking the next best thing. We're going on with Google Hangouts, and it's good to be here. And we got a short show today, not as long, and just kind of cover all the products. We'll cover the events. We'll cover some more of the disruptive technology affecting our business, and call it a day.
Sounds like a plan, Kenny Smyers. And tell you what, I've got a PreSonus mixer for sale. I have got a Windows computer, Wirecast, all this stuff that Kenny's talking about that doesn't work, isn't working. I'm fed up. But what can I say? We're going to get through the show because, as they say, the show must go on. You can probably see the coffee stains behind me where my coffee went up in there a few minutes ago. So meltdown is probably an understatement. But, hey, what can I say, Kenny? Let's get on with the show, buddy. What's up first?
All right, Eric. The first post we have is ControlTalk 2014. It's going to be held November 10th and 11th of this year at the Sprint campus in OPC in Overland Park, Kansas City. And basically, ControlTalk 2014 is a unique gathering of the world's most proactive, visionary corporate real estate executives who have been elected to come together in order to focus on the innovative automation and technology strategies that will enable them to move their respective corporate real estate organizations into the 21st century. So it's another big show coming from Jim Young and Howard Berger and the folks at Realcomm.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. Those guys do a great job. We covered Ibicon, Realcomm. You can go to Control Trends. You can see a lot of sort of the kind of stuff that goes on at these shows. It's definitely worth checking out, so encourage you guys. Get registered for that. It's in Kansas City this year, the home of Link Spring, Mark Peacock, Terry Swope, and the rest of the team out there, so that ought to be good times.
Right, and Sprint is supposed to be quite a campus, and we know that they're making a move now too in the building space, using their technologies and partnering with other high-tech firms and putting together some interesting products that I'm sure are going to affect us one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more about that in the show, Kenny. You had another great post from Therese Sullivan that sort of gets into that. So what do we have up next, buddy?
Well, speaking of Therese Sullivan, that's what we have up next, Eric. We have Therese Sullivan's A Tale of Two Battles, or the Building Automationization of the Consumer IoT, the Internet of Things. So it's an interesting article. It emanated from the EPA's Energy Stars Battle of Buildings. And here we have we're seeing some very interesting thing coming from the federal government, but to quote Teresa's article, headlines this month alerted the building automation and controls community to two battles set to rock our world. The EPA Energy Stars Battle of the Building and the IT industry's battle of the Internet of Things standards. Participants in the first battle are open to leveraging any new IoT concepts that might serve to save energy. So we're seeing a couple major drives here. We're seeing the disruptive forces of Internet technology. We're seeing the federal government's enticing people to become more energy conscious and to create movement in the private sector to solve some of our energy battles. And to solve those energy battles, they're going to put together the Internet of Things, the technologies that are available through all this wearable technology, this high-precision location sensing. But I think what Teresa is saying is that there's going to be a challenge here with protocols and the IoT protocol standardization efforts. They have the Open Interconnect Consortium, which is called the OIC, with Intel, Atmel, and Samsung as anchor members. So just a lot going on. So I'd recommend our community, Control Trends community, visit that post, read it, and try to keep up with it, because these are going to be setting the protocol standards that we're going to be seeing, that we're going to have to watch products develop, watch markets develop, and if you're not, so if we get a lock on these protocols and it's not an open protocol, we could all be in trouble.
Well, Kenny, that is, you're right, that article is very, very rich. There's so much there. The competition amongst the buildings, the smart buildings, in and of itself is worth the price of admission or checking it out. They're basically breaking down into teams, Kenny, and like they'll have Team Walmart. You have 5 or more buildings. The teams are competing. I would think if I was a systems integrator, that would be a great place to prospect, because obviously these people are competing in the smart building space. They're probably also interested in the latest and the greatest technology, so definitely check that out. There's another piece of that. When you get to the Internet of Things, it was kind of interesting. You know, you and I were out at IBCon Realcomm with Intel and Cisco and all those folks coming into the building space. There's another link in an article there, Kenny. I forget the guy's name. You can probably pull it up real quick if you're looking at it, but you had the link to his article. And, he was talking about, because, the question obviously becomes, how active or proactive are these guys going to be in our space? Are they going to completely sort of change the protocols and all? And this guy's alluding to the fact that, they their eyes kind of glaze over when they talk about things like BACnet, and maybe they don't really understand those protocols. So he seems to be indicating, at least to me, Kenny, that he thinks in terms of the industrial space, which would include the big commercial building spaces, although these companies are talking like they're going to come into it, perhaps they're not really understanding, all that's entailed with protocols like BACnet and LAN and things like that. So again, very, very rich article. If you follow those links through, there's a lot of great information for stuff that's coming into our space and adjacent to our space.
Right, Eric. And the gentleman's name was market researcher Earl Perkins of Gardner.
That's right, yeah.
Gartner comes to the same conclusion in a March blog, post, where before it was cool to talk about the IoT, the industrial control and automation world built fit-for-purpose systems with technology that used RFID tags, M2M communications, embedded system sensors, wireless communications, and other IoT components, literally for decades. But he takes a cautionary tone in his reaction to the Industrial Internet Consortium and voiced concerns that if the vision and direction of the IoT becomes too IT-centric, that is, if the viewpoint and experiences of operating technology experts are blocked and ignored, it will be much longer before anything substantive emerges from all the IoT noise. So you're right. And then Therese also threw in, she came up with a toy, she coined a phrase here with the Apple Mush Kit, that the Apple is going to go into a commercial mode. That as soon as they can, they're going to go into building automation, and they're going to challenge names like Honeywell, Philips, and Lutron, and soon morph into what she called the Apple Mush Kit. So just there's so much technology converging and competing now. It's really an interesting time period. You got to really truly kind of watch out. And then another mention there was the CTO of DG Logix. She quoted Eugene Mazzo. And who else? So the CTO of who's the CTO? Is that?
I'm not sure whether that's Eugene or it might be Dennis, or it might be either Eugene or Dennis. I'm not sure.
Or Arthur, maybe too. Arthur, I don't know, but
could be.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know that. We'll look that up and get back to the community. But it says the CTO of DG Logic, in an IoT visualization platform developer with a large customer base among building energy retrofitters and systems integrators, comment in a recent interview. By first dealing with the buildings and all of the proprietary protocols, various interconnection mechanisms, and the use cases involved while visualizing sensor data and controlling equipment, we have learned lessons that are 100% applicable to the current consumer IoT market and how the industry is approaching it. So again, we're seeing the people that we know, the guys that put these great dashboards to the market. DG Logix is now getting involved in the IoT at the consumer level. So what I'm thinking is if they do things well in the consumer market, that's where everybody begins to you hit the residents first. That's where all the disruptive technology has an easier entrance. These people that are used to that disruptive technology come into their commercial building real estate or commercial applications, and they expect that same level of performance, that same app-rich environment. And so that's going to come into our building management spaces, which typically run very slowly. They emerge over time. You put a good system in, a control system that lasts 5 to 7 years, then you start seeing products will start getting sunsetted, and then you'll see different things that come in. But it's a slower market, where the consumer market is much more radical and disruptive. So, very interesting article.
Cool stuff, Kenny. What do we have up next?
The next up was a Johnson Control Acetyl. We posted this a couple of times. But what it's going on is we had a Johnson Controls Tech Talk. And what was very important about Johnson Control Tech Talk is everything that Johnson's doing is linked together. So the acetyl at one time was a separate component that was used to. It was enormously beneficial for contractors because it did everything. You could start a project up and do everything from the takeoff, sizing up the valves, and the whole time you're generating all the literature requirements. You can put your proposal together. It's doing the scope of scope of work. It's doing the sequence of operations. It's all being put together in a uniform package, the asset tool. And now it joins with the FX appliance. So good stuff from Johnson Controls. And recommend everybody go back and visit last week's post on Johnson's Tech Talk.
Yeah, that was a great Tech Talk, Kenny. It really was. Chris Lane and Matt Krieger just totally killed it. We got a lot of positive feedback from that, which is part of the reason we went ahead and posted the thing on the asset tool. I think those guys are going to come back on, and we'll do the asset tool again, probably on another Johnson Controls Tech Talk. We're doing those once a month, Kenny, so audience is anxious to get those folks back on. What do we have up next, my friend?
Next up was what makes the Siemens pressure independent control valve different. The Siemens pressure independent control valves and actuators make a significant contribution to efficient energy usage and offer cost savings by preventing over or undersupply of heating or cooling energy. They also improve the control accuracy and therefore enhance room comfort and maximize energy efficiencies. Siemens pressure independent control valves portfolio is composed of 8 different valves covering a flow range of 0.3 GPM to 37 GPM. 6 different actuators providing floating through 0 to 10 proportional with fail-in-place or fail-safe operation. So great stuff from Siemens. Again, Siemens is a platinum sponsor. We really appreciate their support. And let's face it, Siemens makes a lot of really good products, to include the BT300 VFD, which we'll be posting on real soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Well, a couple of things. First of all, getting back to the pressure independent control valve, I think one of the things that makes that really unique, Kenny, you alluded to it, is the fact that instead of having like a ball valve in there, they actually have a globe valve, which allows you to definitely limit the pressure and control the flow with the valve itself, as well as doing the pressure independent part of it. So that's a really cool feature they have in there. So that is a great pressure independent control valve. And then of course you and your brother actually went up to training on the VFDs. I know we're going to be posted on it, but they came in and talked to us about it too last week. Sounds pretty impressive. Anything you want to share about what you saw up there?
Well, I tell you what, Derek, it's definitely going to be a contender for the VFD of the year. It's an HVAC style of VFD, so it's really important for the fan applications and pump applications. They have 5 wizards to make it so easy to start up a drive. It's very cool, like you did with that Honeywell drive, where you have 20-second start, or 26 or 29-second startup, and then the youngster that came in and started the VFD under pressure down at Stromquist Company. That's pretty cool. But they have some additional features that make this VFD even more beneficial. All VFDs are great money savers, energy savers, 20 to 50% on most applications it'll save. The problem is on startups. The problem is on the heavy maintenance of getting a company up and at and feeling secure about putting VFDs in. Well, Siemens' BT300 really takes it to the next level. It's a very intuitive menu-driven. You can use your computer. They have a PC tool. What I found to be very important was that they had 2 PID loops. So the VFD can be doing this thing, and it could also control a heating valve or a cooling valve right out of the VFD. So there's like a temperature control feature. It can take a PT1000 in or what different sensors in and control independent of the VFD operation. And then what I really didn't know was available yet, but it's available in the BT300, is remote communications. So if you do have a situation or you do need diagnostics, or you can even do some startups if you prefer, have your people go out and put it in, get yourself a 3G or 4G connection, or get connected to the network via the standard web-enabled connections, and you can do the programming from Pittsburgh, anywhere where our customers might be. So that's a real nice option.
It's a cool option, Kenny, for sure, and I think that's a trend that you and I are seeing more of, which is remote startup, remote troubleshooting. We talked in the past about maybe Google Glasses performing that function, where you could have your really good control tech sort of back at headquarters, sitting in front of a computer screen. You have 10 or 12 techs that are out there. He could be talking them through it. So I think we're going to see that as a trend for people becoming more and more efficient. They're all-star big brains, the Rick Warner type guys back at headquarters, and obviously what you're saying with the drive from Siemens, it lends itself to that very, very well.
Well, it's probably it would be a last resort. You probably, you can actually do all the startup at your office. Give them the keypad, and they can take it out. You can upload the the crazy thing about this is how easy it is to upload the program and download it again. So you could take, if you had 4 drives doing 4 different same applications, and like maybe like you have I don't know, carbon monoxide application in a parking garage or whatever. So you get the same situation 4 times. Yeah, you do the programming just like everybody else. Is you take the keypad, you put in the next drive, download it, go next, download it, and so just good stuff. And you know what? It's very competitively priced.
Very cool. Very cool. What we have next, buddy?
All right, the next up post coming now is our Belimo, the easy way to replace a globe valve actuator. And so we've all, anybody in the control business has gone out there. I saw an application or a job last week where it was a pool, chlorine action, deteriorated this valve and actuator, the linkage. I mean, what chlorine does to metal is incredible. But we couldn't find enough information about what was left on it to know how to replace it. But the Belimo retrofits, once they cleaned it up and whatever, the valve was still in pretty good shape, the body was in, but they needed a new actuator. Well, the Belimo retrofit actuators are an amazing way to do it. So if he says, do you want to always have a replacement for globe valve actuator in stock or your truck, not just any actuator, but one of the best actuators, I think that was your post, because it's very strong verbiage there that you might think about putting the Belimo retrofit kits in your service vehicles, because that way you've got probably about a 90% chance that you can go and replace the actuator on any of the globe valves out there. Especially.
I want to speak to that, Kenny, because we've had a lot of experience, great experience with that. Me especially personally. Because again, you think about if you're a service guy on a service truck, you can't stock all the actuators. But with Belimo, you stock a spring return, a non-spring return. You stock a handful of these adapter linkages, and you're good to go on pretty much any valve you replace, valve actuator, I should say. They work great on all the major brands, so that's cool. Another application we've had a lot of success at, Kenny, is with the school boards or the universities, where they have so many different products that come in, and it's just hard for them to keep up with all the technology. So, one of our things we've discovered that they like a lot is you're able to go in and say, look, let's just make your life a little bit simpler, okay? I mean, let's get you one valve actuator that you have to learn for all your globe valves. You can stock these things in your storeroom, but and a handful of these adapter linkages. But more importantly than that, your tech guys don't have to learn 15 different valve actuators. They can learn Belimo, and that's it. So Belimo is really, really good on this. We've had a lot of success with that, Kenny. Again, a lot of school boards, a lot of universities have adopted that approach. They've been able to streamline their inventory, save money on that, and at the same time, their techs love it because they learn one actuator, and that's it. So I think Belimo's got a real winner with this. If you haven't tried one of these, reach out to your local Belimo rep or Belimo distributor. They'll give you one to try most likely, and I think once you try it, you won't go back. And the other thing I'll say about Belimo, Kenny, that I was sort of unaware of, but we've got a couple of our industrial sales guys. They've been selling the Belimo valves for steam applications, the Belimo steam applications and some industrial applications. They've held up really, really well, have done a great job, and saved the industrial customers a lot of money too. So I invite you to consider Belimo as being more than just a commercial valve and actuator line. They really, really are quite robust and quite flexible.
Sure, Eric. And another thing too about Belimo is they've got a fabulous website with a whole lot of how-to videos. And I mean, I really and truly, when we sell these things, we make sure that our customer feels comfortable with it. We'll actually run through it. We'll say, hey, okay, so you can see what you need. Make sure you've got the only thing sometimes you got to be worried about with some of these retrofits is you got to have enough room. You got to have enough headspace. You got to. Sometimes you're changing things out, and then you don't realize that you've got footprint there you got to deal with. The Belimo folks are getting really excited, Eric, because they're moving to their new facility 1 October. In fact, there was a email that went out. They're going to do a 60-day terms thing as an interim measure to build up stock now and inventory now, so that during that movement period, that I think the end of mid-September to probably mid-October, there's going to be some obvious logistic strains on deliveries and whatever, because they're moving product, and they're beefing up their Nevada Sparks location with more product, and they're asking everybody to help assist with the transition from the old facility to the new facility. So that's also a pretty clever way to deal with things, is to give people the incentive, give them 60-day terms so they can buy some product in advance, so that during that transition period there won't be a shortage of Belimo products.
Way cool, Kenny. Way cool. Yeah, and again, thanks to Belimo. They're on as a platinum sponsor again for the Control Trends Awards that will be taking place in Chicago this year at the same time as the AHR show. And so we really appreciate those guys. They're helping make this possible. It's good for the industry. And I tell you what, you should reach out and support the people that are supporting the industry, like Belimo, Johnson Controls, Vicon, EasyIO, DG Logics, and LinkSpring. We really appreciate all those guys. And, of course, Siemens Controls, which we mentioned earlier.
Right. Yeah, well, it's going to be a good show, and Eric, every year it's perennial. It's an annual event that there's so many new products being introduced. We're going to have at the very end of the show, we're going to have another new concept, another new product because relentless turnover on products. I mean, look at what's happened with thermostats this year. Look at you had Nest contending, but you also had Honeywell introduce 2 thermostats, and they're coming out with their Lyric. I think they're going to actually start shipping at the end of August. I don't believe the Lyric is shipped yet, but I mean, so just in some of the more basic bread and butter stuff, we're talking about VFDs. You got a new VFD line. Tikka Westinghouse also has a new VFD coming out that they're pushing. I think it's called their FT series or F series, but they're coming out. That's going to replace the MA7200 series that they're so well known for. You've got these retro kits from Belimo, but there'll be just more products. We'll have some busting products this year, I think. So when we look at the Control Trends Awards, we look at new products. By focusing and participating in it, not only do you share in all that marketing collateral, but you enlighten people. You get exposed. A lot of people come in and take a look at these things, and there'll be some great competition. But there's also a very good learning process. Everybody benefits by their participation.
Agreed, Kenny, agreed. All right, buddy, what do we have up next?
Well, we have another meeting. We have the SGIP, the Smart Grid Interoperability Panel, is going to have their second annual conference and fall members meeting in Nashville, Tennessee, September 15th through the 18th, 2014. It's a really, I wish I could go because the educational programs that they have are incredible. And the people coming there are the top speakers to deal with 3 content-packed tracks: data transmission, grid protection, distributed generation and renewables integration, and storm resiliency and restoration. So these guys really are the smarts on the big stuff, the Smart Grid panel. It's a great opportunity for manufacturers, vendors to get involved because you can see what the standards are. You can see you can basically participate in it. But the Smart Grid Interoperability panels, they're trying to get more members, but it's all about harmonizing the interoperability and provide an opportunity to learn from smart grid experts and network with peers. It attracts stakeholders from all domains of the power energy ecosystem. It connects partners and peers while learning and discussing the orchestration of standards that critically impact, enhance, or accelerate the deployment of a smarter grid. So it's going to be in the Sheraton Music City, Nashville, Tennessee Conference Information and Hotel.
Tell you what, I don't know about you, Kenny. Nashville is one of my favorite cities, so that'll be great. But you and I are going to be in Europe during that time period, covering probably the greatest event on the planet, the EasyIO Worldwide Conference with Mike Marston and the great team from EasyIO. So we'll be reporting live from Europe. But hey, I think they still have some spots left. If you get a chance, reach out to Mike at EasyIO. That's easyio.com. They call it easy for a reason. That is going to be something special, Kenny. So I'm really looking forward to that. What about you?
Well, I sure am, and it's going to be one of those things that we're also going to take. We're going to digress a little bit. I think we're scheduled to meet with the Tritium European top gun in London, and he's responsible for all of Europe and the Middle East. We also are visiting at least one more thermostat manufacturer. And that's going to be interesting. They're right in Madrid, Spain, along where the conference is at, and we may be visiting at least 2 other manufacturers over there, European manufacturers. So it's going to be fun because of globality, and one of them might be Belimo, one of them might be Sysmec. We're trying to finalize our plans, but it's going to be an exciting Control Trends event.
Really is, Kenny. The world is shrinking, so to speak, especially in the controls industry. I think there are a lot of things over here we do really, really well, but then I think you maybe even better than other people on the planet. But I think, Kenny, if you reach out and if you look at other parts of the world, I think they do some things better than we do. I know that's especially true with our friends from down under. So we got a couple of guys down there we're hoping to get on the show. Rav, we're reaching back out to you. Hope to get you on the show soon. So, Kenny, anything else before we wrap it up this week?
Well, yeah, we got 2 more posts there, but just one more thing about the EasyIO is that it's not all fun. There are some very important. The FG32 has been continuously improved, and they're doing training there. And one thing about Mike Marston is he's a lot of fun, but he's a very intelligent, and he's a good teacher. If you go to any of Mike's classes, I mean, you just come away feeling. He makes it look easy and sound easy, and he's very good at relating technical terms to layman's terms. So it just makes that whole learning process. So there's a lot of benefit being there because there's going to be some technical stuff, and I'm sure he's going to be assisted by Lim. Lim will probably be there because they make a great duo in terms of training and application. So it's going to be
SK too. Yeah. Well, you're right about that. Mike was in Florida at our Florida operation this last week, Kenny, and. I tell you what, you talk about a guy who can take the complicated and explain it in real simple terms, but I tell you what, we had one of our customers who is technically probably the best guy that we have. I mean, this guy just really knows the stuff inside and out. Mike spent some time with him, and this guy could go tech concept for tech concept with this guy. So Mike is one of the unique individuals that, again, can make the complex simple, but at the same time, really knows it inside and out and can get down to the bits and bytes with the best of them. So Mike is truly an amazing individual, which probably explains why he's won a couple of awards at the Control Trends Awards.
Yeah, he's he's global too. I mean, he's probably the most traveled executive that we work with. He's in a different country every other week. And his daughter, congratulations to his daughter, who last I looked, she was 4 under at the Pinehurst Juniors. So hope she did well, and congratulations, Mike. I'm sure you're proud.
Absolutely.
All right, Eric, we're closing down quick here. We've got Ken St. Clair and Automated Buildings' August release, Working Together Separately. And Ken is a big theme-oriented guy. He said, the theme for the August Automated Buildings was Working Together Separately. And just a real quick read from there. It's another awesome collection of industry collaboration from Ken and Jane St. Clair, the contributing editors, and the contributing editors at AutomatedBuildings.com. In the words of Ken St. Clair, although our August theme seems more like an oxymoron, the cloud enables us to work together while flexing our greatest resources, our people. A group of individuals that separately creates pieces that fit into the cloud puzzle. I recently found clarity in the cloud and have started talking funny, but now have a clearer vision of our future, a collaborative mosaic of our industry working together separately. And one final thing about Ken, please visit. We have a direct link right in the Control Trends post. But he's still very, very much involved with his generating the next, or making sure that we have the bridge in place to take the next group of facility managers, building automation specialists, to replace the outgoing group. He's starting a young collaboratory to get the IoT being the motivation for young people to get into our industry so that we have somebody to hand off. So basically our future is clear. We need to identify our collaboratory resources that will take us to the outer edges of the IoT buildings, but we need to clearly convey how our individuals will add value and why they must be part of your collaboratory.
Well done. Definitely check Ken Sinclair out, one of the great minds in our industry, and we are going to continue our Young Guns or our Young Superstars series on Control Trends as we attract and put a spotlight on the great young people that are in our industry. What do we have up next, Kenny, or is that it?
One more, Eric, and we'll be out. Meet your device companion for any job. ACI's Job Kit.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And this is a real, like we're talking about the products. I mean, imagine, I can't tell you how many times we've had a job delayed or had to send a service crew back to a job, or the integrator had to send his guy back out because of a $12 sensor. We either had a 10K and they needed 20K or vice versa, whatever. So this, the Barry Gordon and the gentleman, the Schwens at the ACI and some of their techs, the customer support folks, their engineers, they came together and they decided they were going to make a job kit that would have the most common devices that you need in integration. So we're talking they're going to have rescaling modules. You have your basically ARM analog rescaling module. You have your current switches, relays, power supplies, a host of thermistor probes and sensors, and relay transformer, and they got it all inside of a very durable, companion kit. It's going to be like a toolbox, but it's a little bit different than a toolbox. It looks more like a briefcase, an executive kind of look and feel. But what a handy thing to have, and to put. Basically, their concept is you buy one for each truck, and then you're able to go through. It'll have an inventory list, and as the things get used, the service manager or his assistant or somebody can go in there and order the replacements and keep these things loaded, because then you're not going to have people running around looking for sensors or looking for a transformer or looking for a power supply. They've got it, and it's a very reasonably priced. I think the list price on it was $600, I believe, but purchased through a distributor with discounts and what's available, that's probably going to come out to be a very affordable price with a great idea.
It really is a great idea, and I want to thank those folks too. They're sponsors of the upcoming Control Trends Award, so thanks very much to those guys. Very innovative folks, Kenny. And I tell you what, you take that kit, add a couple of those Belimo actuators on your truck, and you should be good to go, man. Think about how efficient you can be, not having to stop in at the supply houses and drink the coffee and eat the donuts. You'll be in better shape. Just makes sense. So with that, hey, I apologize for our technical difficulties this week. We're going to get back on track. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff that I bought and get new stuff that works for a change. So if any of you want to know what not to get, if you want to do this, let me know. But Kenny, I appreciate you. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week on Control Trends and Control Talk Now. And remember, stay in control.
Indeed, Aaron.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers. Thanks, guys. Bye.